If I was a girl, I'd live on my back. Yeah, but once in a while I hear from somebody from 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Or sometimes, and when you get thrown in jail, I don't bail you out, so don't call me. Don't call the office, don't call Kim. I'm not into that. Even if I liked you, and fortunately I don't like you, but I mean, even if I liked you, I wouldn't bail you out, okay? Yes, sir.
What was it that, for you, that you decided to be there?
Because I had never done a deal in Bulgaria. Very simple, you know. We had and it was, Hungary, yes, I've done, you know. Lithuania, Estonia, Romania, Poland, Ukraine, yeah. But I never done a deal in Bulgaria.
Belgium?
What? Russia?
Belgium?
Belgium, yes. I mean, they're easy. Belgian waffles are all pussies there. It's easy. I mean, fucking, you know. And my best Belgian, unfortunately, is gone now.
Australia.
Pardon?
No one in Australia.
Fucking, yeah. I mean, it's easy down under. One of my current stars is from Adelaide. The asshole of the earth. Literally. For those of you that have never been to Australia, it is the rectum of the planet, Adelaide. Direct fucking rectum. And I was in Adelaide in 1991 when some kids had broken into the zoo and raped the animals. They put ladders up to rape the giraffes. They took chickens to masturbate on, because when you enter the chicken, apparently it splits them open and other little animals. They fucked everything. I was there. Not many people still around that will remember that in 1991, but I was there, and that's how it still is. And when you leave there to go to Darwin, which I was on my way to...
I lived there for 10 years.
Yeah?
Darwin.
Oh, well, Darwin, you fly over mile after mile of red dirt. You look out the plane, it looks like the moon, okay? And, Darwin I like. And I hunted with, there was a real Crocodile Dundee, the movie. But there was a real guy, his name was Barry Lee, and I hunted with him up there. And but yes, we're rolling up brothels in Australia where it's legal, medical, dental. Jason Nagy, who you're going to listen to in a couple of days, is crushing it in radiology practice. Jason Nagy is the top of his game because the banks don't want him to come to the meetings anymore. And you can ask Sally. They say when I was still going to meetings, they'd call up and Mrs. Pena, we know Mr. Pena is busy, but we don't need to bother him with these small details of the credit. So they don't want me to come to the meeting because I don't take no for an answer. And see, when I say that, guys, you just think the old man's just flapping his lip. It is rumored, I will neither confirm nor deny, I have choked bankers. I have drugged senior financial people across boardroom tables. What will you do to get your deal done? I already know the answer. But Jason Nagy is now at the top of his game. They don't want him to come to the meeting. He's too hard on the bankers. If I wished anything on anybody in this room, I would wish that within a year that bankers don't want to talk to you, because that means you're at the top of your game. But instead of trying to please them, but that's why I accepted hers. And she didn't understand her English, and so she was out recruiting the chairman. And then I looked at her report, and I said, "You heard what I said." I told her I don't remember writing that, but I'm sure I did. But she wasted a week to get that chairman that she then threw out. And but the point is, and it's not as well defined as when the French girl said it. As soon as she changed the pitch to where she was interviewing them, then everything fell into place. And it's not the way you normally go in with your hat in your hand to recruit lawyers and accountants. And it's not contingent. First of all, contingent fees are against the law, General Accepted Accounting Principles, GAAP, which is worldwide organization. It's against GAAP rules. An accountant cannot do something that's contingent on anything, because then they're not considered independent. But you don't even have to have the right words. She happens to be good looking, which I'm sure hasn't hurt her any. And I'm sure that slit she wears up to her dress like Mata Hari up to about here hasn't hurt her any.
Too bad the video didn't.
Pardon?
Too bad the video didn't work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And she tells people she's married, which is not true, but because, people hit on her left, right, and center. If I was a girl, I'd live on my back. We have a daughter, and our daughter, everybody except you, honey. You she hates. If our daughter were here, she'd have you all clustered over in a little corner. He says he's really an asshole. He really is this tough. He really is, and he's tougher on us, which is true. Of course, then I would say, how does my program work out? Terrific. And how has your program worked out? We know. And I don't even get into, based on some of the questions I asked you, about do your kids have goals? Most of you said no. Now, what does that tell me? Now, you're going to make the excuse, well, the kid's only 3 years old. So? Or the kid's 33 years old. So? What does that tell me about you when you say your kids have no fucking goals? And you wonder how they got fucked up. The fact that you answer, and I'm glad you answered the question honestly, but the fact that you would put that down on a fucking piece of paper, I don't understand. What do you think it's going to bolster my thoughts about you? That I think you're a superhuman being? Allowing your children not to have any fucking goals? Are you such in a dream world? You are so fucking stupid? When I asked you, do your parents have regrets? I told you some of them having you was a regret. I can totally relate to that, having met you now. Marrying my father, getting pregnant in medical school. Gee whiz, don't you have a fucking, support factor there? There's a reason why I ask these questions, and there's a reason why I do the homework, because I can tell when I put that information together, my kid's got no goals, my mother's a regret in life is having me, and then I read your answers to your fucking homework. I can paint a pretty accurate fucking profile. And then I don't switch the whole seminar on just for one meathead. But when we've got 20 or 30 or 40% of the meatheads, like this guy, a lawyer. This is John Gotti's lawyer, my mentee, for real. And his wife called me and said that I was a psychopath and that I was ruining her husband, and then he came to the hardcore. My wife's seen the power and the success of QLA. So he's rolling up veterinary clinics, by the way, veterinary. He's a lawyer, criminal lawyer. Birthday cake of me and Mr. Pena for my birthday this week. Same girl who emailed Dan 2 years ago and called us. We get calls from your significant others. We never pass on that information. Somebody in this room, we get calls from your children if they're adults. We get calls from teenage daughters, but the kid's not having any goals. And then when I get them on the phone, hello honey, and I call everybody honey, and if you were here, I'd slap you in the ass, sweetheart. But I mean, just a couple of questions. How is it that you don't have any goals? How do you know that, Mr. Pena? I'm just a lucky guess. Do you know what your kids actually think of you? What's one of the other questions I ask? Do your kids think you're successful? Remember that question? What are you smoking? What possibly are you smoking to think they think you're successful? I didn't ask you what do you want them to think if you had a wish. Now, self-esteem is built the first 7 or 8 years of life. The Catholic Church has it right. You give me your kid the first 7 or 8 years and I will own him the rest of his fucking life. The Catholic Church has its hands so far up my ass, I'm surprised you're not seeing their fingers coming out my mouth. I wanted to be a priest. I used to teach Bible and catechism study, but I would have been fucking Pope, and I would have been a crooked motherfucker, just like most of the other popes. When Ratzinger stepped down as Pope, remember the Nazi Pope? For those of you, there was a Nazi Pope that we had a few years ago. He got an email, he got a Twitter account. And there were a lot of fake Twitter accounts, but then when I finally found his Twitter account, I sent him a tweet. Text, not tweet. What do you call him? Tweet? Is that the right word? I sent him a tweet. The next day he resigned. First time in 600 years a Pope stepped down. The next day the cocksucker resigned.
What did you say to me?
That's between the Pope and me and somebody else, maybe, the higher power. But for those of you that know who I'm talking about, for your kids to not have goals, is the reason why I say we're through. It's over, except for QLA bots. We are gonna rape, pillage, and plunder. We are gonna ride like the 5th horseman of the fucking apocalypse to fill our pocket. Moral, ethical, and legal. Now, what's moral, ethical, and legal in Vietnam? Not too much, because unless you're rich, there is no rule of law. But for most of you, there is a rule of law. There is. Scotland's a little different. There's a reason why the Romans built the wall, Hadrian's Wall, to keep the fucking Scots up here. There's a reason. Because the Scots aren't wrapped, they're either wrapped too tight or not tight enough, depending on how you want to look at it. But, there's a reason. There's a reason. Okay, now you've seen or heard the Bulgarian, the French girl, Vietnamese gangbanger, and the kid, right? Now we're going to take a little vote, just hand. How many could relate to the kid? I'm not raising my hand because I relate to him, but anybody could relate to the kid. How many could relate to the French broad? Okay. How many could relate to the gangbanger? How many could relate to the slinky Bulgarian broad? Okay. A vast majority, about 70% of you, could relate to the gangbanger, the Vietnamese gangbanger. Now, you're going to see about 3 or 4 a day. And then, but that will allow me, coupled with reading the homework at lunch, coupled with what I've already got information on you, to readjust some stuff. Because there's 2,100 slides, and we're only going to go through 300, 250. And the 250 or 300, that's the other thing we changed in the seminar that means something. Okay.